Hi there, language adventurers. Welcome back to Learn English with the Hobbit. Today we're diving into a dramatic and fiery part of the story, when a terrifying dragon arrives and everything changes. Stay with me, and let's improve your English while enjoying Tolkien's powerful storytelling. Ready? Let's begin reading. One day, he flew up into the air and came south. The first we heard of it was a noise like a hurricane coming from the north, and the pine trees on the mountain creaking and cracking in the wind. Some of the dwarves who happened to be outside. I was one, luckily, a fine adventurous lad in those days, always wandering about, and it saved my life that day. Well, from a good way off, we saw the dragon settle on our mountain in a spout of flame. Then he came down the slopes, and when he reached the woods, they all went up in fire. By that time, all the bells were ringing in Dale, and the warriors were arming. The dwarves rushed out of their great gate, but there was the dragon waiting for them. None escaped that way. The river rushed up in steam, and a fog fell on Dale. In the fog, the dragon came on them and destroyed most of the warriors. The usual unhappy story. It was only too common in those days. Then he went back and crept in through the front gate and routed out all the halls and lanes and tunnels, alleys, cellars, mansions, and passages. After that, there were no dwarves left alive inside, and he took all their wealth for himself. Probably for that is the dragon's way. He has piled it all up in a great heap far inside, and sleeps on it for a bed. Wow, that was intense. A dragon, fire, fog, and fear. Now, let's take a closer look at some of the most useful words and expressions from today's reading. Don't forget to like this video if you're enjoying it. Subscribe to the channel for more lessons, and leave a comment telling me which word was your favorite. Let's jump into the vocabulary. Flew up means that something went up into the sky by flying. In our story, the dragon suddenly flew up, soaring high into the air like a nightmare with wings. Imagine looking up and seeing a shadow covering the sun. That's what it felt like. Air is what we breathe, but it's also the space above us where birds fly and dragons too. When a dragon fills the air with smoke and fire, it's not the kind of air you'd want to breathe in. Trust me, clear air is a gift. A noise is any sound, but in this story, it's something scary and loud. Imagine a roaring sound from far away, like thunder, but worse. That's the kind of noise that warned everyone the dragon was coming. You feel in your bones. A hurricane is a super powerful windstorm, usually near oceans. But here it just describes how wild and stormy the sound of the dragon was, as if nature itself was shouting. A dragon's arrival can feel like a hurricane crashing into your life. These are tall trees with pointy green needles, not soft leaves. The mountain was full of pine trees, standing like silent watchers. But even they couldn't stand the dragon's fury. They cracked and burned like matchsticks. When something creaks, it makes a slow, squeaky sound, like an old door opening or trees swaying in the wind. Picture the tall trees groaning under the force of the stormy wind. Creak, creak, like they're whispering dangers coming. This is the sound of something breaking suddenly, like a bone, a branch, or your nerves. The branches snapped one by one as the dragon came closer, filling the air with cracking sounds like a giant stepping through the forest. Lad is just a friendly word for a young boy. In this part, The narrator calls himself a lad, young, bold, and full of life. It gives the story a personal touch. He survived because he was out wandering, like curious kids often do. To wander means to move around without a set destination. Maybe you're just exploring, or maybe you're lost. Our young dwarf was always wandering, and that habit actually saved his life. See, curiosity has its perks. Settle means to come down and rest somewhere. When the dragon settled on the mountain, it wasn't for a picnic. It was to take over. He landed hard, like a burning star claiming its new home. A spout is a sudden burst, usually of water or fire. Think of a teapot blowing steam, but way scarier. The dragon came down in a spout of flame, a stream of fire so powerful it lit up the sky like lightning. Slopes are the sides of hills or mountains, tilted, not flat. The dragon slid down the slopes of a lonely mountain like a fire snake, heading toward the woods. That's when the real destruction began. This means the soldiers were getting ready to fight. In Dale, the bells rang and the warriors grabbed their weapons, hoping to protect their home. Sadly, they were no match for the beast that awaited them. To rush out means to come out quickly and suddenly. The dwarves rushed out of the gate, maybe thinking they could stop the dragon. But Smaug was already there, waiting. It was a trap, and none escaped that way. To escape means to get away safely. It's what everyone hoped to do, but few could. In the story, escape was nearly impossible once the dragon arrived. Smoke, fire, and fear blocked every way out. Steam is hot mist that rises when water boils. Here, the river turned into steam when the dragon's heat hit it. Imagine fog so thick and hot it chokes you, and inside that steam, the dragon moved like a ghost. Unhappy just means sad, but this sadness was deep. So many lives were lost and homes destroyed. It was the kind of unhappy that sticks to history, tragedy that people tell stories about for generations. Common means something happened a lot. You'd think a dragon attack would be rare, but in those dark days, it was sadly common. That tells you just how dangerous the world had become. To creep in is to sneak inside very quietly. The dragon didn't charge through the front gate with a roar. He crept in like a silent thief. That's almost scarier, right? It shows how smart and evil he was. To rout out means to force someone out of hiding. The dragon searched every hall and tunnel, pulling out dwarves who tried to stay hidden. There was no place safe inside anymore. Lanes are narrow paths or streets. Inside the mountain, they were like stone hallways connecting rooms. But now, they were just traps, places where the dragon's fire could reach and no one could run fast enough. Similar to lanes, alleys are narrow passages, often between buildings. The fire moved through alleys like water through pipes, fast, silent, deadly. Nowhere to hide. Cellars are underground storage spaces. You'd think they'd be safe, but not from a dragon. Even the deepest cellars were found, and those inside were lost. Dragons are thorough. A mansion is a huge, fancy house. The dwarves lived in beautiful stone mansions deep in a mountain. But the dragon didn't care. He burned them, crushed them, and took everything shiny inside. If someone is left alive, it means they survived when others didn't. In this part of the story, No one was left alive inside the mountain. The dragon's wrath was complete. Wealth means treasure, gold, jewels, anything valuable. The dwarves had a lot of it, but they couldn't protect it. Now it belonged to Smaug. But dragons don't enjoy wealth, they just hoard it. This phrase means to stack or gather things into a big heap. After taking everything, the dragon piled it all up, just a mountain of treasure, useless but shiny, like a greedy child with too many toys. A heap is a messy pile. In Smaug's case, it was a heap of gold and gems. He didn't care about order. He just wanted to lie on it like a dragon king on his golden mattress. A bed is where you sleep, but not all beds are soft and cozy. Smaug made his bed on treasure. Cold, hard, but valuable. That's a dragon for you. Strange taste and comfort. And that's it for today's episode, my friends. We saw how a single dragon can change everything and learn some powerful vocabulary along the way. If you enjoyed the story and learned something new, hit that like, subscribe, and share this lesson with your fellow learners. Until next time, keep reading, keep learning, and keep flying high in English.